Well, fans, we're already wading waist deep into the Great Northwest Athletic Conference portion of the season. In fact, once tonight's game tips off, we will officially be into the second half of the GNAC portion of the St. Martin's basketball docket. But for the moment anyway, it's 9 games up, 9 yet to play of the GNAC's 18-game schedule. And, well, I think I speak for us all when I say that I cannot wait to see what the stretch run, the dog days of college basketball have in store for us over the course of the next month. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for tuning in tonight for another edition of St. Martin's men's basketball. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Austin Burns, I'm Jeff Lucero. Happy to be here with you for the live broadcast from Marcus Pavilion tonight. Tonight's game finds the Saints pitted against a longtime GNAC rival, the Montana State Billings Yellow Jackets. We'd, of course, like to welcome in any Jackets fans tuning in for the broadcast tonight. Very nice to have you along for the broadcast as well. We'll talk matchup shortly, but first we have got to talk about the home team. And for the Saints, they come into tonight's game riding awfully gosh darn high after having their 7-game winning streak broken by a last-second desperation 3 against Seattle Pacific back on January 17th. The Saints rebounded quickly, snapping off back-to-back bone-crushing wins against Western Oregon, pulverizing the Wolves in 2 games by an average of 22.5 points. The Saints followed those 2 wins with another convincing victory on the road 2 nights ago against Central Washington, running away from the Wildcats in the second half in a huge GNAC showdown, 94-83. Now, so couple the current 3-game win streak with that 7-game stretch of consecutive wins, and the Saints have won, let me check my calculator, carry the 1, 10 of their last 11 games. Yes, that math checks out. This stretch is all the more impressive when you consider they haven't been at full strength since early January. Alex Schumacher is back, and he is tearing it up, but he recently missed 3 games with a back injury, and the Saints were without Christian Hafner, Marky Adams, and Goy Wang for both wins over Western Oregon, and Hafner and Adams were very limited in the win over Central after being in the COVID protocols for 10 days. So the latest winning streak has the Saints sitting alone atop the GNAC standings, and by a comfortable margin at that. Now 7-2 in the league, the Saints are a full 2 games ahead of what is now a 5-way tie that logjams the GNAC standings for second place between Western Washington, Simon Fraser, Central Washington, Seattle Pacific, and tonight's opponent for the Saints, Montana State Billings. By the way, we've got massive news to share from the GNAC about changes to this year's postseason basketball tournament. We will get to that a little later on in the broadcast during tonight's game. So it's not just that the Saints are winning games, it's that they're executing at such a high level. If you have a minute, pop over to the GNAC website and pore over the team stat leaders. The Saints are in the top half of all but 2 of them. They're currently 3rd in scoring, 2nd in points allowed, 2nd in shooting, while 3rd in shooting defense, 2nd in rebounding margin, 2nd in assists, 2nd in steals, and they are 1st overall in the league in scoring margin, 3-point percentage, turnover margin, and assist-to-turnover ratio. The only 2 that they're not in the top 5 in, well, one of them is offensive rebounds, where they're still a solid 6th. But here's the thing, when you're shooting 2nd in the league in shooting percentage, you're not going to rank very high in offensive rebounding. Free throw percentage, though, is where the Saints do rank last. That's one that the Saints would love to improve upon for sure, but because they do every other thing on the floor so well, they are undoubtedly the best team in this very deep, very talented league right now going into tonight's game. And let's now bring in Austin Burns to the broadcast. And AB, this is about as remarkable a turnaround as you can possibly have. You consider the Saints went 6-23 under head coach Aaron Landon in his first season 2 years ago after nearly the entire roster turned over. He brought in some dudes for the COVID-shortened season, but this team still lost a lot of key pieces from that squad as well. And before the season even began, the Saints were picked to finish ninth in the preseason coaches poll, ahead of only tonight's opponent, Montana State Billings, who it is certainly well worth pointing out the coaches also appear to have whiffed on as they come in tonight, as mentioned, as part of that 5-team tie for second place in the league. So, Austin, back to the Saints team. They're 14-4 overall, a full 2 games up in the league standings, which aren't going to mean quite as much. We'll learn more about that here in the broadcast. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder every single night, and they're doing just about everything head coach Aaron Landon expects. Sure, the new guys that he brought in have a ton to do with this team's good fortune, but we have to start by giving a ton of credit to Aaron Landon and his assistants, Tyler Velasquez and Wesley Reynolds, because between them, they appear to be putting something truly special together here in year number 3.
Jeff, you knocked it out of the park there with that pregame segment. There's not much more for me to say. No, when you look at this coaching staff, you have to just tip your cap to them, the work that they've done in the short amount of time. When you bring in as many transfers from high-level programs, Division I, Chaminade, that's a lot of trying to get these guys to buy in and believe. And when you already have superstars on the team like an Alex Schumacher and a Marky Adams, how do you gel those old guys with the new ones and get them all to buy in, work together? And that is exactly what this coaching staff has done. Now, granted, it helps when a lot of these guys have been playing ball since they were 10 years old and have known each other for a long time, but that's credit to the coaching staff to go get all those guys together and say, here's our goal. It is to try and raise a banner in Marcus Pavilion this year. And right now, how everything's going, obviously there's a long way to go with a lot of games packed in at the end of the season. But the Saints, we might have to be making a room up there in the rafters for a banner because they are by far the best team to date in the GNAC. But you got a big test. Montana State Billings gave them a heck of a run in Billings. That this game could go either or, but the Saints are really starting to click. It took a buzzer beater shot at SBU to knock them off. I mean, that's how high level the Saints are playing. But if you ask Aaron Landon, he knows there's another gear in this team that they can push, and they want to hit that coming down the stretch.
We will take our first break of the pregame show as time winds closer to the opening tip of this very key league matchup between the Saints and the Yellow Jackets. When we come back from the break, we will preview said opponent for the Saints. Do not go anywhere. You are dialed in to the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show on the Saints Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show. And it is now time for a quick look at tonight's opponent for the Saints. The Yellow Jackets entered tonight's game with an overall record of 8-9 and a league mark of 4-3. As we mentioned in that last segment, they too are exceeding expectations, having been picked to finish dead last in the preseason poll. But you don't have to look far at all to see the keys to the Yellow Jackets' success today. Clearly, it has a whole lot to do with the absolutely sparkling play of their backcourt tandem of Carrington Wiggins and Damon Thacker, the only 2 players to start every game for Billings so far this season. Between them, they average right around 31 points per game, but they do so many other things for this team. No question, they are one of the most talented backcourt duos, not just in the GNAC, but in the entire West region. But the Yellow Jackets' talent does not end there, not by a mile. Mick Durham's team also boasts one of the most imposing physical front courts in the league. Post-rotation of Iman Ajanaku, BJ Shabazz, and Jimmy Brown makes mobility in the paint very difficult for opposing teams. So overall, the Yellow Jackets average just 65 points per game, but they're only giving up 64 points per game. They're shooting 42.5% from the floor, just 31% from 3, but a solid 73% at the foul line. But Austin, one thing we know about this team, they can flat out grind it. All but one of their league games so far have been decided by single digits, and 3 of those, including the Saints' narrow 2-point win in Billings earlier this season that you talked about in the last segment, have been decided by 2 or fewer points. They slow you down, they guard you, and they are tough at every spot on the floor. Tonight's game is a study in contrasting styles. This is easily one of the most confusing yet fascinating matchups that we'll see all year.
Jeff, all I'm going to say about the Coaches Bowl, anyone picking against Mick Durham,
no.
He's one of the best coaches there is. His record through Montana, he's an absolute legend. I knew about him when I was over there, at Carroll College. Everybody knew about him. So anybody picking against him, I wouldn't advise against it. And also want to say a special happy birthday to the coach himself as well.
I'll be darned.
Happy birthday to Mick Durham. But for Montana State Billings, they're going to have to stop the Saints in transition, limit those turnovers, and guard the three-point shot. They got 2 of the best guards in the conference. And for them to pull off a win on the road in this atmosphere, you're going to have to turn to Carrington Wiggins, and you're going to have to go, we need a big game out of you. He's an all-conference level player. There's no doubt about it. He's going to have his name right there for a first ballot selection. This is a game that you could easily cement yourself as one of the best guards in the conference. Have a big game here tonight. Yellow Jackets, they know who their star is. They're going to have to turn to him here tonight, and they're going to need a hot start against the Saints.
Well, the good news for the Saints, this rendition of Yellow Jackets basketball is thankfully without Tyler Green, who has graduated since we last saw him, and Brendan Howard, who transferred out for his final season of eligibility. I don't know about you, Austin, but I am still having nightmares about Tyler Green, who lit up this gym with 12, count them, 12 made three-pointers in Marcus Pavilion the last time the Yellow Jackets were here 2 years ago. Thank goodness he has exhausted his eligibility because, wherever he is, he just hit another 3.
Yeah. Oh, that was a special game. I mean, it was one of those where he just stood on and go, there's no way. He's just crossing over the half-court line. There's no way he can hit this one. And he did. It was a special night. And, unfortunately for the Saints on the receiving end of that one, but it was still, you got to just respect game, and he had a lot of it.
Utterly bonkers performance from Mr. Tyler Green that night. So, yes, if you are a Saints fan, you are very relieved that his eligibility has been used up. We will take our final break here on the St. Martin's Men's Basketball pregame show. When we come back, we'll set the stage with some starting lineups and a few last-second thoughts. This has been the St. Martin's Men's Basketball pregame show on the Saints Digital Network. And welcome back inside. We're mere moments away from tip-off, from the start of this all-important GNAC matchup between Montana State Billings and St. Martin's. This one's going to be a fun one, folks. Strap in, hunker down for the next couple of hours. We're going to bring you a preposterously entertaining, just delightful game of basketball for the next little while. Running through some starting lineups. For Montana State Billings, Damon Thacker, Carrington Wiggins in the backcourt. Up front, Malik Bracat, Nicholas Sebastio, and Iman Ajanaku. Keep an eye on him, folks. He's a 6'11" true freshman from Nigeria. He's an absolute load. He is a fully formed human being, to be sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, looking at the Saints, they had a lot of size advantage at Central Washington. Not tonight. They're going to have to use that size to body him up. He's a very athletic big, watching him in the shoot-around. This is going to be a tough matchup for Brett Reed and Marky Adams.
Saints going with what is they've settled into as their regular starting five here now that they've got Alex Schumacher back in the rotation. So in the backcourt, Schumacher, Tyke Thompson, Kyle Greeley, and Jaden Nielsen-Skinner. Up front for the Saints, Brett Reed, the team's leading scorer and rebounder, coming into tonight's game. But it has been Schumacher, the hot hand in conference play so far. He's averaging about 19 points per game in 6 GNAC contests. And Schumacher coming off back-to-back just sparkling performances as well in the Saints' last 2 victories, most recently at Central Washington Tuesday night down in Ellensburg, and at Western Oregon down in Monmouth Saturday night. Saints coming out in some beautiful retro kits here this evening. How about these, Austin? The gray. I love these uniforms. I'm getting my first actual sort of view of the whole uniform now. Man, that's a good-looking uniform. Yeah. Meanwhile, Montana State Billings in their traditional road blues.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's supposed to be part of homecoming weekend on Saturday. Game got canceled, so why not break them out a few days early? The brand new look for the Saints, retro look, but it's a great look. You know, there's actually a picture that they based them off of. If I recall correctly, Vince Stroyan actually had a picture with these jerseys on when he played here at St. Martin's. Saints were able to get those recreated, even pose and get a recreation of the photo. So
outstanding.
Yeah, look at
Our
those.
dudes look awfully slick, awfully sharp out there. As we're all just kind of standing around. Wait, now we're all set to go. So Reed to jump it up opposite Ajanaku. Ajanaku controls. We are underway. Montana State Billings moving it left to right on your radio dial. Sebastio steps out to get it. It's come out in their zone defense. Reverse it around on the perimeter. Now Thacker pulls up just inside the three-point line and knocks down the 17-foot mid-range jump shot. First points on the board for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, great start getting the ball into your guards' hands, letting them just find some open space and take that shot.
Montana State Billings just never in a rush at the offensive end at all. You're going to see the shot clock tick under 10 many times throughout this contest. Remember, they only average 65 points per game, but they're only giving up 64. This very much a grinded-out, mid-tempo program. Under head coach Mick Durham now in his 4th season.
Well, and the Saints are going to want to try and push that tempo, and the best way they're going to be able to do that is force turnovers.
Get our first look at Ajanaku down low. Nearly travels right to the rim, point-blank range. Rolls off the front lip. He's able to tap it back out to himself. It awards Billings with a fresh shot clock. Now Thacker tries his luck from deep. That shot rips out. But another offensive rebound, and the possession stays alive for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, great tip out, great position inside. Able to give another possession. This is where the Yellow Jackets have to make the Saints pay.
Down low for Ajanaku, but Kyle Greeley comes over from the weak side with the back tap. And our first turnover of the game. Here's Tyke Thompson looking for Reed down low, nothing doing. Referee nearly the recipient of that pass.
Kind of like a free safety coming in there.
Now Schumacher will back it out. Rolls off the high screen from Reed. Pulls up from 3. Wide right. Ajanaku clears it for Montana State Billings. So a couple of empty trips for the Saints to begin the game. Now rolling off the high screen. It's Wiggins on the drive. Accelerates into the paint. Gets all the way to the rack and lays it in. 4-0 lead for the Yellow Jackets. Saints coming out just a little bit slow.
Yeah, a little bit slow, but you've seen the Saints. They can just put 10, 15 points up on the board in a blink. But again, I said the Yellow Jackets need to take away that three-point shooting. They are playing very aggressive, giving no inch to the Saints no matter where they are on the floor.
Tyke Thompson, nice little move. Sets himself up with plenty of space, leans into a 15-footer, falls across the free throw line as he puts it in. And the first points on the board for St. Martin's. The cutter along the baseline is Stacker. Kicks to the corner and a three on its way from Sebastio. No good. Weak side rebound. Hauled down by Brett Reed and back on the Saints. Schumacher pulls up from the elbow extended, leaves it short. Nothing but blue shirts under the basket. And now it's Wiggins pulling up for three. That one just does roll out. Long rebound, tracked down in the corner right in front of Saints head coach Aaron Landon by Schumacher.
Yeah, one of the most underrated aspects of Schumacher's game is his ability to rebound. He's a difference maker on the floor.
Two Yellow Jackets after the ball. It rolls off, well, either one of them, take your pick. In any event, we'll keep it at the Saints' end after the gift turnover from Billings. Gives it right back. Just the opening moments of tonight's game. 4-2 our early score. Now wait to see how this one plays out over the next 40 minutes. Nielsen Skinner in the corner. Dumps it down for Reed. Double team collapses on him. Gets into the paint. Rolls. Now kicks it back outside for Skinny. Crosses over right to left. Accelerates along the baseline. They kick it back to the perimeter. Now Greeley from 18 knocks it down. Kyle Greeley coming off perhaps his finest performance as a St. Martin Saint. A team high 24 points against Central Washington on Tuesday. 16 of those coming in the second half. 6 of those in the all too crucial moment from the 2-minute mark to the 1-minute mark of the second half when the Saints iced the game, but it was really coming up huge with that half a dozen points in a 1-minute span in the game's waning moments, and he connects right there.
It feels like every game you look down at Greeley's stat line and you go, he's got another 16 points. I mean, he just silently puts them up. And again, probably the most underrated, lost art in basketball, the mid jumper. He just gets right into that zone. I mean, it feels like, I'd love to run the numbers. He's got to be about 70% when he's around that free throw line. He just knocks that down all day.
One of 2 Portland State transfers on this team, of course. He and Jaden Nielsen Skinner, newcomers to the program, but teammates at Portland State and very fast friends along with Tyke Thompson. All 3 of those guys all grew up in Salem, Oregon together. Now get to play some college basketball here together for the Saints. A little give and go. It's Briquette rolling to the rim. Off balance midair, able to angle his way to the basket and lay it in. Tough shot in traffic, but knocks it home, and Montana State Billings regains the lead.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets able to take advantage of the mismatch down low. Schumacher left all by himself. Not much he could do, and a great move just to get around him, not commit to charge. Easy basket.
Thompson lays it off for Marky Adams beneath the basket, who's fresh on the floor after Brett Reed picked up a foul. Adams stays composed, sets his feet, waits for the defender to fly by, and lays it in. And we're all equal again at 6 apiece. Nearing the 15-minute mark of the first half.
And not many teams get to roll an all-conference big off their bench like the Saints do. Billings got a great big. It's hard to fight against 2 of them for a full 40 minutes, though.
Briquette had a much easier look at the basket than he did his last time through, but he leaves the layup well short. Now it's Schumacher. Gets into the paint, now kicks it back outside for Kyle Greeley. Looking down low for Adams for the moment. Instead resets to Nielsen Skinner up top. Now Thompson flashes out to get it. Adams in the post. Couple of dribbles. Spins to his right, goes glass, too short. Thompson jacked in the back on the putback attempt. And he will head to the line for a pair of foul shots when we return. So with 14:39 showing on the clock here in the first half, it's Montana State Billings 6 and St. Martin 6 on the Saints Digital Network. Welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. We are deadlocked at 6, and here's part of the reason why. Both teams 3 for 8 from the floor. Both teams also 0 for 3 from distance. So it's an identical score on the scoreboard, but identical shooting performances for these teams so far as well.
Yeah, and I think if you ask both coaches, I think Billings would be the one most happy right now.
Sure.
It's a slow-down game. Yep. Yellow Jackets are locking down on the defensive end, especially beyond that arc. And there's a turnover by the Saints, not allowing the Saints just to get into that flow.
Yeah. Well, the turnover does give it right back to Billings. The Saints will settle into that 1-3-1 zone. Schumacher up top, flanked by Thompson to his right, Nielsen Skinner to his left. Marky Adams clogging the paint. They enter into the high post, now dump it off down to the low blocks. Janaku goes to work. His follow-away 7-footer won't fall, and Thompson cleans up. Skinny races out. Adams on the early post. They get it to him. Double team collapses on him. Dribbles toward the baseline, has it stripped away from behind. Quick hands from Carrington Wiggins. Leaves it out of bounds with 21 on the shot clock for St. Martin's.
Yeah, that's been the scattering report all season on Marky Adams and Brett Reed. The moment they put that ball on the deck, you're going to swarm. He has to be able to have a quick outlet. If he puts that ball down and he sees that help defender already there, that ball has to get out of his hands.
Greeley from the elbow knocks it down. Couple of mid-range jumpers for Kyle Greeley, and he has found his stroke right where he left it in Ellensburg. He is as hot as he was to end that game, here to start this one as well. So good to see each of these guys just continue to grow and improve within the context of the offensive flow for this team. Janaku with a mismatch down low. Thompson does a nice job of pushing him off the spot. Now Carrington Wiggins crosses over, pulls up from distance, no good. Schumacher after it, hawked by Janaku. Now hands it off. Skip pass over the top for Skinny. Surveys, he crosses over, not once but twice, gets to the rack. Now leaves it off for Adams beneath the basket. Pump fakes, gets up and lays it in. So Marky Adams with 4 early points off the bench for St. Martin's. And the Saints with their largest lead at 10-6.
I have no idea how Skinny got that ball around because the length of Billings down low is large, and he got that ball around, finds the open man.
Brent Fenn misses everything, but there to clean things up. Carrington Wiggins sneaks in, and the putback goes. 10-8 game. Now Nielsen Skinner rather. His 3 falls off the back heel of the iron. The ball must have just caromed out of bounds.
Just grazed off the shot clock above the board.
Oh, is that what it was?
I believe so.
Well, so good to see both Hafner and Adams back on the floor for St. Martin's. They had missed the 2 prior games before the Central Washington game because of COVID protocols. Neither one of them played very much at all. I believe Hafner played 13 minutes, just 8 minutes for Marky Adams. But Adams already a huge part of the Saints offense, gets the defensive rebound here. So both of those guys back on the floor and moving their way back toward full strength for the Saints. Schumacher on the drive. Pulls up, hesitates, leaves it short. Adams after it, but it's covered up by B.J. Shabazz, and back comes Billings. That's early transition. 3 from Thacker. Steps to his left, creates some space, knocks it down, and Billings back on top, 11-10.
First 3-pointer of the game, I believe. Again, if you're Billings, that's exactly what you want. 8 minutes into this game. Not a high offensive output by either side.
Schumacher resets things between the circles. Drifts off the Adams screen. Picks up his dribble, needs help. Finds Thompson, 6 on the shot clock for Tyke. Crosses over right to left, dispossessed for a moment. Going to have to hustle off a shot from the volleyball tee on the floor. Able to graze the iron, but the ball rolls out of bounds, and it brings us to a stoppage in play. Montana State Billings with the 1-point lead. Folks, we're going to leave it here for this timeout. So we mentioned in the pregame show that there's been a drastic change to the postseason structure this year. Now, traditionally, you'll recall, if you're a GNAC fan, it's the top 6 teams from each side of men's and women's basketball. The top 6 are the only ones that advance to the postseason. It's not going to be the case this year. The GNAC coming up with a determination to help sort of offset what could potentially be an imbalanced conference schedule due to games potentially being completely canceled outright by COVID. Austin, what can you tell us about what the conference is now going to be doing for the postseason?
Yeah, so instead of wins and losses, it's on a point-based system. These are unofficial results. These are what we have just calculated here at St. Martin. So the GNAC has yet to put out the official standings, but here is what we have because the points are a public. And it's a complex formula. Wins on the road against teams 750 and above are worth the most amount of points. It goes all the way from 500 and above, 250 and above. So there's points associated with wins at home and on the road. So you see right now, St. Martin's at the top according to our math, 4.167 points per game. And so it goes all the way down. Montana State Billings currently 7th in the standings. And these change every single time that there is a result in the GNAC. Everything changes because it's an ongoing calculation. So, that's going to be something to tune into every single game to see how it changes.
So fascinating to see how this one's going to play out. And we get our first look at Champ Spencer fresh on the floor for St. Martin's. He defends in the corner here. On the drive, it's Carrington. Wiggins, what a move! My goodness, reverses the shot up and under. And the Montana State Billings lead extends to 3 at 13-10. What a move along the baseline. Wow, what a talent is Carrington Wiggins. This dude can flat out ball.
Yeah, and we said in the pregame show, he has to have a big-time performance for Billings to come out of here on top. And that's a great move right there to start. Up by 3, but Billings is going to need more of those kind of plays. But Wiggins, he's a special talent.
Velko Ilic on the floor as well for St. Martin's. Takes his time and feathers up a nice little 4-footer in the paint. How about Velko Ilic getting into the mix?
Well, it's great to see when Markey Adams had to go down due to COVID. Ilic got more time on the floor and really started to develop, and now the Saints feel comfortable rolling 3 bigs on the floor in a game.
Now BJ Shabazz tees up a 3. My goodness. Looks like the Saints were content to let him shoot from there. And Shabazz makes him pay in the largest lead of the night so far for the Yellow Jackets at 16-12. Now Reed down on the low blocks. Faces up on Jimmy Brown, who's fresh on the floor. Schumacher in the corner, jumps it for Ilic. Tries to muscle up a shot, now puts a dribble on the deck. Spins to his right, leaves it well short. Brett Reed ripped from behind. No foul is called. I guess Wiggins had hands on the ball. Now here's Brent Finn in transition, lays it up and in. And now it's a 6-point advantage for the Yellow Jackets as we hit the halfway point of the first half. Just 12 points for the Saints in the game's first 10 minutes.
Yellow Jackets doing a great job of just making life as difficult as possible for the Saints bigs. Every time that ball goes down low, there's 2 Yellow Jackets on them. Here's the help defense again. Reed, though, able to break through it. Spin move off the glass.
Oh, Brett Reed splits the defense. How about that move? What footwork from the 6'8" big man from Houston. Oh, my goodness. I am grinning ear to ear. That was one heck of a play. Brett Reed has been itching to get off here at the offensive end, as it has not yet happened until now. Into the high post for B.J. Shabazz. He'll pull up from 12 feet. Leaves it short. Strong rebound. Cleared out by Brett Reed. Here comes Schumacher the other way. Saints settle into their offense. Now Schumacher accelerates down the right side of the lane. Spins into a double team. Now spins away from it. His 8-footer falling away, won't go. Quick outlet ahead. What a beautiful bounce pass in transition. Thacker can't finish, but there's Wiggins for the putback. Oh, my goodness. Carrington Wiggins putting on a show. He's got 8 points to lead all scorers. What a talent he is.
Yeah, number in my mind was 25. That's what Wiggins was going to have to get to. Off to a great start, but Brett Reed answers right back.
What a bounce pass inside from Schumacher. I don't know how he was able to fit that through, but there's Reed able to gather it. Waits for a moment. And the aggressive move beneath the basket, so back-to-back hoops for Brett Reed. He has roared to life here in the last couple of moments.
And Saints switching to that signature zone defense, but that's the best way to beat the zone. Just dribble right through it. Layup. Easy points.
Yeah, Carrington Wiggins already in double figures. 10 points on the night. He's missed his only 2 3-point attempts, but he's perfect inside the line. Now Schumacher triggers a 3. That went off the right side of the iron. And the rebound covered up by Thacker. He'll move it the other way. Hesitates now, drives on Hafner, gets into him. Fouled on the floor, wave off the shot, so it'll be ball out of bounds for Montana State Billings as they will send 4 fresh bodies back to the floor. And Jaden Nielsen-Skinner returns for St. Martin's. We're going to talk more about Mick Durham and the job that he's done. We talked about how things turned over for Aaron Landon in his first year, having to replace, I think, not the Saints 8 of the 9 top scorers on that team. How about this? Mick Durham. Here's why Montana State Billings was likely picked to finish last in the conference. Like virtually no one. This is an entirely new lineup than Montana State Billings had 2 seasons ago. Tyler Green is not the only guy that's gone. Brennan Howard, also not the only guy that's gone. 10 different players are all gone from that team for Montana State Billings 2 years ago as they now grow the lead to 8, 24-16. So, yes, hats off to Mick Durham. What a coaching job this has been for him so far this season.
Well, with the transfer portal really growing in popularity, people think it's as simple as just going out and picking up who you want, but you got to make them gel together. You got to make them all buy in, and that's what these 2 coaches have done, and that's why these 2 are bucking those preseason polls.
Well, and speaking of transfers, how about Christian Hafner finally getting some space, lets off a 3, nails that, but at the other end, the answer is there. Nicholas Sebastio steps into a 3, and the lead builds back to 8. Nielsen-Skinner drifts to the near side, surveying. Looking for Elich inside, instead reverses it back to Hafner. Now it's Champ Spencer with it. Brett Reed alone at the top of the key. Hafner will try for 3 again. Little bit too strong. And the rebound cleared out by Burkett. 27-19 our score. Sebastio hit from there a moment ago. Can't connect there, leaves it well short, and Skinny comes away with it. He wants to push. Slams on the brakes just inside the 3-point line. Now backs it out. 17 on the shot clock for Skinny. Gets under the basket. Now takes the scenic route all the way back out to the free throw line. Pulls up from there and drains it. How about Jaden Nielsen-Skinner just lulling the defense to sleep and then popping the rainbow mid-range shot. Now a 6-point game.
Jackets just lost them in the middle of all that traffic, and there's Skinny doing what he does best, coming up clutch when the Saints need it most.
Sebastio reverses it back to Thacker. He'll trigger for 3. A little bit too strong, but a strong rebound for Ajanaku. Now Brent Finn steps into a 3. Same spot off the back heel, but another offensive rebound. Sebastio can't get the putback to go, and here comes Nielsen-Skinner. Skips to the corner for Champ Spencer. Sets his feet, fires from 3, leaves it well short. And Thacker will slow things down for the Yellow Jackets as they are wont to do. 5.5 left here in the first half, and the Yellow Jackets with a 6-point lead. Finn looking to the high post now. Instead, they kick down low for Ajanaku. Double team collapses on him. Reed and Elich chase him all the way to the sideline. That leaves a man wide open beneath the basket. Burkett does the rest, takes the pass from Finn, and knocks it home.
Well, how many times do you see a 6'11 freshman big get trapped in the corner and just hook pass and be able to reverse and swing around for an easy layup? Ajanaku, I mean, he's going to be special.
Yeah.
He already is a good ball player. He's just the freshman, people. This is going to be a long 4 years in the GNAC.
Now Elich spins away from trouble, hands it back to Spencer, who raises for 3 and drains it. Champ Spencer getting in on the act from the perimeter. And a timeout called by the Saints. 4:45 to play here in the first half. Is this a 30? Is this a full?
I believe
Looks
it'll
like
be stretched to a media.
All right. We'll take it with it, folks. It's a 5-point game. It's a great game so far here at Marcus Pavilion. So one thing real quick, I just want to touch on this once more before we get back into action. How about the job Mick Durham has done? I mean, when you replace 10 guys off of a team, and the guys that he had left over weren't guys that were part of his regular rotation, neither of them that are here tonight will likely, well, one of them for sure won't see the court because he's inactive. He's in civilian clothes here this evening. But the two guys that are carried over were not part of the regular rotation. So, I mean, really and truly, this is a profoundly enormous rebuilding job that Mick Durham has done. And he's got this team competing at a high level in a league in which he was picked at the start of the season, Austin, to finish dead last.
Well, and he's done it with a great blend of freshmen and high-level transfers. You know, it's exactly what they needed. And it's, again, credit to the coaching staff. They did their homework in the offseason, found the guys that they needed to fit into their culture and build this program.
Schumacher thinks about a three, gets to the rim, lays it up, leaves it short. Adams there for the glass. Tyke Thompson, his putback won't go. Now Hafner calling for it, gets it, loads for three. It just does rim out. But Adams there, but rejected at the apex by Ajanaku. Man, oh man, what a sequence. Adams now. Back to Thompson, skipping over the top and out of bounds. That pass sails into the Montana State bench.
That's a highlight block right there. Woo! Not many people go up against Marky Adams and walk away with a block.
Flat-footed like that as well. What a play from Ajanaku. You hit it on the head, Austin. He's going to be a fun dude to watch over the next 3 full seasons of Montana State Billings basketball. Timeout on the floor. We're 3:57 away from halftime, and it's still Montana State Billings with a 5-point lead. Montana State Billings controls with that 5-point advantage. They have led from start to finish thus far. They lead at 29-24. Just 4 turnovers so far in this game. Only 1 committed by Montana State Billings. 3 for the Saints. They only had 2 a moment ago before Tyke Thompson was unable to connect with Schumacher on that pass that sailed out of bounds. That's just the 4th turnover so far of this game. Just 4 fouls called as well. So not a lot of points on the board, but this has been an efficient, clean, very, very, very well-played basketball game so far.
Yeah, and I said in the pregame, the Yellow Jackets have to limit turnovers so the Saints can't get out in transition, and they're doing just that, and they're hitting from beyond the arc.
That's the one thing Wiggins hadn't done yet in this game. He was 0 for 2 from 3, but 5 for 5 inside the three-point line, but he tees one up there, and he's already got 13 points. Comes in tonight averaging just over 17. He might have that by halftime. Greeley here. Handles for the Saints. Now defers back to Schumacher. 10 of the shot clock as he goes to work. Rolls around the Adams screen, kicks it back for Thompson. Over to Greeley, gets into the paint, leaves it for Adams. One dribbling up. Can he get it off? He can! Arky Adams just does beat the shot clock. A very patient, very Montana State Billings-esque possession for the Saints. A little taste of their own medicine deep in the shot clock.
Yeah, and now the Saints are going to have to come and start playing defense. They haven't been able to get a couple looks on the offensive end in a row. They need to come up with stops, and you see the intensity picking up.
Now a long 3 here on the near side for Sebastio, and he squares it. Good heavens. 9-point lead for the Yellow Jackets, who just continue to do basically everything right in this game.
And no team has been able to walk into Marcus Pavilion this year and do what the Yellow Jackets are doing. That Anchorage loss for the Saints was close all the way through. Yellow Jackets right now in full control.
Hafner looks to answer, and he does. Christian Hafner with his second 3 of the game. It's great to see both Hafner and Adams with a half a dozen points apiece when they only combined for 1 point, granted in very limited action in the game against Central Washington. But so good to have both of those guys back at, if not at full strength. Now, it's Wiggins again for three. That one bounced off the back iron. Adams clears the rebound. And Greeley will run things. Crosses right to left. Hesitates, now gets around it as defender. Angling toward the baseline, and he's fouled on the floor. That's just the third foul of the first half. Whistled against the Yellow Jackets. It's going against Sebastio. That's his second foul, however.
Going back to your point about Christian Hafner, even in the few games before he had to miss due to COVID, he was a little bit off in his three-point shooting. There's no secret about it. He started the season just red hot. I believe almost close to 50% from beyond the arc. He had cooled off a bit. Good to see him getting back going because he can stretch a defense, and it is an absolute nightmare when you're trying to guard so many weapons on the floor. He can sit in the corner and hit daggers.
Here's an interesting stat right now, Austin. The Saints have 29 points on the board, 17 of them off the bench. They had 7 bench points out of 94 against Central Washington on Tuesday. 17 bench points. The bench has outscored the starters so far in this game for St. Martin's.
And you don't see that when at Central. Dunk nearly, just missing. But the Saints at Central, if I recall correctly, I believe about 83 of their 94 points
87, I believe.
87 came from the starting lineup. I mean, this is a team who relies heavily on those. They have a lot of weapons for sure, but they rely heavily on that starting five to do a lot of the lifting.
Well, that's an encouraging thing if you're a St. Martin's fan. Now here's Greeley. Sets his feet, lots of time, knocks down the three. So what I was going to say is it's encouraging that the Saints bench is playing so well right now because the starters haven't really gotten into form just yet, and once they do, it could be look out below.
Yeah, and this is where the Yellow Jackets have to get a score on this possession, get the momentum going back your side.
Greeley with a near steal. Candy, what's going to happen here? We have the ball rolled out of bounds, last touch by the Saints. How about the effort from Greeley in front of the Saints bench? By the way, we're now down to a 3-point game, so yes, this is a very important possession for the Yellow Jackets, as the Saints have whittled all but 3 points off of their sizable 9-point lead a moment ago.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets have been in control for about 18 minutes of this game. Don't want it to slip away in the last few minutes.
Now Thacker rolls off the high screen. Angles his way toward the paint. Now kicks outside. Shabazz raises for three, and it'll roll out of bounds. 33 seconds showing on the game clock. A fresh 30 on the shot clock. The Saints can ostensibly hold for close to the final shot of the first half. No 2-for-1 opportunity here.
I was going to say, you got 3 seconds, just a quick full court shot by Shu. We can do this, Chef. I believe.
Well, I love your enthusiasm, if nothing else. As ridiculous as it might be. Good stuff. Schumacher walks it across the timeline. Saints content for the moment anyway to run some clock. Greeley in front of the Yellow Jackets bench, defers to Reed at the top of the key. They look down low for Schumacher, turns, spins, gets into the air, double clutches, no good. Tyke Thompson tracks it down. No look pass inside for Reed. Kicks back outside for Greeley. Time winding down. Long three for Greeley. Off the back heel. Reed there for the offensive rebound. What's going to happen here? A foul whistled against Carrington Wiggins for the Yellow Jackets. It's on the floor, but just 1 4/10 seconds left here in the first half.
Tough break for the Yellow Jackets, I feel like. Really felt like Schumacher kind of crashed into Reed on that one. But what this is going to give the Saints an opportunity for is try and set up off of a pick and roll, a shot here, three-pointer.
Schumacher to inbound. Got to go quick. Gets it to Greeley, spins, gets a three off. It just does rim off short. And that'll do it for us here in a very quick first half of play. Just 6 fouls in the game, 4 turnovers in the game, and here it is, 7:30, and we're already at halftime. But it is Montana State. Billings with a wire-to-wire lead thus far. They take a 3-point lead of 35-32 into the halftime break. Folks, we'll take an extended break here on the broadcast, but please rejoin us in just about 12 minutes' time for a look back at first half stats and a look ahead to second half action between the Saints and the Yellow Jackets on the St. Martin's Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for a very short, very brief, very terse St. Martin's men's basketball halftime show. It's Jeff Lucero alongside, as always, my dear pal, Austin Burns, AB. Montana State Billings led this thing wire to wire. They have not trailed in this game. They now lead at 35-32. And we talked about it in the closing moments of the first half. Interesting statistical anomaly for the Saints. The bench keeping right up with the starters for St. Martin so far. The numbers just about balanced out by now, but how about that? How about the clutch play of the St. Martin's reserves so far in the first half of this game?
Yeah, they are what is keeping the Saints in the game for sure. Christian Hafner, 2 big-time threes. Also, Marky Adams was 6 points down low. Also, 7 rebounds for Marky Adams. Having himself quite a half. But we talked about it in the pregame show, Jeff. The way to beat the Saints is you got to slow the game down. You can't let them get out in transition. Best way to do that, limit turnovers. Billings with just 1 turnover in the entire first half, and I think that came pretty early if I recall correctly. They went quite a distance without a turnover, and they're limiting the Saints' three-point shooting. That's when St. Martin's can start to pull away from a lot of teams. Saints on the night, 4 of 14, 28% from the mark. Not what the Saints needed in the first half.
Well, both teams doing a really remarkable job of taking care of the ball. Saints with just 3 first-half turnovers of their own. They also have 12 assists on those 14 made buckets. Saints going to have to get Alex Schumacher going after back-to-back 20-plus nights in his last 2. Schumacher 0 for 6 so far from the floor, 0 for 2 from 3. He was held scoreless in the first half, just 2 first-half points as well for Tyke Thompson and Jaden Nielsen-Skinner of the starters. Kyle Greeley leads the way with 7. He's actually got a team-high 7 points. Brett Reed with 4. Half a dozen apiece off the bench for Hafner and Adams. A 3 spot on the board for Spencer. Elich rounding out the scoring with 2 points for the Saints. It will be St. Martin's basketball to begin the second half. They now move it left to right on your radio dial. Saints in these beautiful retro unis. Love to see them, and then love to start off undefeated in these uniforms, but they've got a mountain to climb here. They trail to start the first half, the second half rather, 35-32, but Brett Reed takes the pass, bounced inside around a defender by Kyle Greeley, and just like that, a 1-point game. It's right back in this thing. They trail by as many as 9 points in the first frame.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets use their length inside, alter the shot from Greeley, but still able to come up with a beautiful inside feed.
Saints very active at the defensive end on this first Montana State Billings possession. They break it down inside, though. Beautiful pass. Lasered across the lane from Damon Thacker into the hands of Malik Bracat. He absorbs the contact midair. He'll head to the line for an and one opportunity. Good job on the offensive end for Montana State Billings to open things up.
Yeah, they respond right back, and that's what they did all first half. Every time the Saints seemed to carve out a basket or two, they were able to come up with a clutch shot and answer right back. But there's something you don't see very often, a lane violation on the Yellow Jackets themselves. So free throw no good, but it would no good anyway.
Well, Brett Reed picks up his second foul. He had an early foul in the first half. He goes to work down low. Double team comes to meet him, so he kicks it back outside. Pass nearly intercepted. They tried to enter it back to Reed. Nielsen-Skinner sends it inside, but Carrington Wiggins jumping out of the gym to get his hands on that ball and send it into the Saints bench. 12 on the shot clock for Nielsen-Skinner between the circles up top. Reed comes out to set the high screen. Now he flashes down low. They kick it back to Tyke Thompson. Straight on 3, no good. Greeley after it, and Nielsen-Skinner catches up with it at the timeline. No-look pass inside for Reed. Double clutch. Gets his own. Hesitates for a moment. Now kicks it outside. Pass deflected and into the hands of Billings. We're on the run out of Stacker. Gets all the way to the rack. Switches left to right and lays it in. Fantastic transition possession for Montana State Billings. They like to slow it down, but when they want to, Austin, they can really turn on the gas.
Well, they had 4 guys in the paint when that transition started. They just get the ball out to the lead guy, and he makes it all happen. That's a huge momentum swing for the Yellow Jackets. That easily could have been 2 points for the Saints. Instead, 2 points for the Yellow Jackets.
Schumacher trailing Thacker down the floor. Wiggins comes to get it. The Yellow Jackets will run their stuff. They bounce it down low. For Bracat, kicks to the corner. Now they reverse it back to Wiggins. 3 on its way, and it's good. Carrington Wiggins Man, oh man, well, he had a spectacular first half, 13 points, give him 16 now on the night, having himself an absolutely stellar game. Now Nielsen Skinner. Skinner's down the right side of the paint. Now flips a pass inside for Reed. Faces up, spins on the defender. Ajanaku backing up. Reed sort of throws himself into the contact. That was a great play by Reed. Ajanaku in the restricted area. It wasn't going to go against Reed in any event. And Reed earns a trip to the foul line. Good heads-up veteran play from Brett Reed to draw the first foul of the game on Ajanaku.
Again, Jeff, you talked about in the pregame show, free throw shooting, kind of the Achilles heel for this Saints team. And you're going to need every point you can get here tonight.
Believe it or not, we went the entire first half of this game without a free throw attempt from either team.
Don't get me wrong, Jeff. I love the good old free throw, but pace of the play just,
man,
it speeds up. It speeds up when you got no free throws.
You and I are going to start a band, and we're going to call it the good old free throw.
Ooh, I like that. I'll be the bass player. I don't have any musical ability, so I'll just stay in the back corner.
Now it's Thacker raising for three. Leaves it well short. Reed after it, able to save it in bounds to Nielsen Skinner. And the Saints, well, not really with numbers, but anytime you've got Nielsen Skinner running the point, it kind of feels that way. He reroutes, angles a pass inside for Reed, gets it back, behind the back dribble. Now bounces it in for Reed, faces up, gets around the defender, and lays it in, and he'll head to the line. That was just an odd defensive setup for Damon Thacker. He was down almost in like a three-point stance beneath the basket. Almost doing like a little crab walk there as his feet outside the restricted area. I think more than anything, he might have gotten called for that foul because his stance was so bizarre looking.
Yeah, just unfortunately for Thatcher, just they double team on Reed the moment he picked up that ball down low, able to get it back out. And then the Saints just swing it back around and kind of caught him in a bad position. But that's what the Saints have to do. The moment that double team comes, just get it back out, loop it around, and look for the open guy.
Reed now a team-high 8 points. Saints trail by 6. They have trailed this entire game. Now Thacker from the elbow. Reed there for the rebound, boxing out on Jimmy Brown. But he's the last to touch it. It rolls out of bounds, so keep it at the Jackets' end. 20 on the shot clock. And Thacker to inbound. Feathers it over the top for Brown. Now Thacker comes to get it. Takes his time, works his way toward the baseline. They kick it back out. Now Wiggins, hawked by Skinny. The switch puts Reed on him. Hesitation, steps back, will try for three. Leaves it short, well short. But there to pick up the loose change was Brickett, but it's tapped into the hands of Schumacher. No look pass for Reed from Skinny. Reed gets airborne, absorbs a lot of contact from a couple different defenders beneath the basket. Unable to finish, but he will head back to the line.
Yeah, Reed starting to get back into his normal flow. Attack the basket, draw fouls. That's what he does best. Just get down low, and he's going to find a move or two. But that's another foul on Sebastião. That is his third. So only player.
Yeah, in any significant foul trouble.
Great minds think alike.
And Brett Reed rattles home the free throw. Hafner and Adams back on the floor for the Saints. Greeley and Schumacher stepping away. Brent Finn back on, as is B.J. Shabazz for Montana State Billings. So Reed, give him a team-high 9. Bends at the knees, sets, fires. That one rolls out. So Reed's been to the line all 5 times for the Saints, all of them here in the second half. He's only been able to connect on one. A 5-point game. And the Saints zone defense will go to work. Into the high post for Shabazz. Now Thacker skips off the screen, gets all the way to the rack. He's fouled midair. And that will bring us to a stoppage in play. So Damon Thacker heading to the line. Once we return, Montana State continues to lead. It's a 5-point advantage with 15:55 to play. 15:55 to play. Montana State Billings not just hanging around. They have led this thing start to finish thus far. And Austin, we were talking off air, this game's starting to remind you almost in an eerily similar fashion to a game that was played right here in Marcus Pavilion a couple of years ago.
Yeah, homecoming weekend about 3-4 years ago to the date. Saints were taking on Simon Fraser, and Simon Fraser pulled off a huge upset.
Yep.
If I recall correctly, the only loss of the season for the Saints at home. That was a big-time game, and it really kind of turned the Saints up a level, I feel like. You know, those guys really grouped around that loss and went, that's not happening again. And so, you know, right now it kind of has that same feel, same time of year. Montana State Billings coming in. They're playing a heck of a ball game. A lot of great defense.
Well, Thacker can't connect on either free throw. Brett Reed, by the way, picked up his third foul before we went to break. He stays on the floor, gathers the defensive rebound. So Brett Reed still on the floor for St. Martin's despite the 3 fouls. So a player apiece with 3. Sebastio has 3, 4. Montana State Billings. Reed going to work, spins to his right. They look inside for Adams. That's a tough pass for him to handle. And look at Brent Finn leaking out. Hafner fouls him on his way to the basket. And I believe it'll be Brent Finn heading to the line. We'll say he was shooting. And he was.
The Yellow Jackets really pushing that tempo with just one player breaking out on the fast break. And
yeah, it's so interesting that a team that likes to play mid-tempo, likes to settle into their half-court offense, can just change gears just like that. That's one of the more frustrating things about this team. They keep you off balance because you're sort of, to a certain degree, game planning for a team that wants to just play at a mid-tempo pace. But we've seen it a number of times where they have kicked things up a notch and they've just had guys flying to the rack.
Yeah, not many times you see that 4-man go in for the rebound. You know, and you got to trail that one guy. You got to know where he is at all times on the floor, and he's just using that burst of speed, get down the floor, and make some plays. And it's great outlet passes, too. Yellow Jackets really doing a great job of making that lead pass to start that fast break.
Unbelievably, Montana State Billings still with just 1 turnover in this entire game. 1 turnover in nearly 25 minutes. Here's Hafner for 3. Here on the near side, just inside the Twin Star logo. A much-needed 3 for the Saints. Christian Hafner off the bench with 9 huge points for the Saints, and this suddenly a very important defensive possession for St. Martin's. But how about Hafner coming through in the clutch yet again off the bench for St. Martin's?
Yeah, Hafner for me right now has been the key player for the Saints. Every time the Yellow Jackets start lulling that offense into his sleep, he comes up with a big-time 3, but they have to start stepping up on the defensive end.
Shabazz bluffs it a 3, now kicks to the corner. Thacker steps inside the line, raises from 15 feet along the baseline, and time and again, the Yellow Jackets have had the answer every single time the Saints have thrown a haymaker of their own. Now Nielsen Skinner will try for 3. Adams, the long offensive rebound, out to Hafner, he'll try again. That one no good. Greeley flies in from out of nowhere, but the best he can do is just knock the ball out of bounds. And possession goes back to Montana State Billings. They just continue to keep the Saints at arm's length in this game.
Yeah, they're using passing and patience to just wear down the Saints defense, get them running around the floor, just scrambling instead of preventing. And that allows the Yellow Jackets to get a good shot off. And you know, not a lot of their shots are coming down low in the paint. It's a lot of mid-range jumpers. They're hitting them right now.
Marky Adams takes it away. Give the big man a steal. Now Greeley walks into a 3. Got it! Kyle Greeley cuts the lead in half. And the Saints back within a possession with 14 to play. 46-43. Kyle Greeley tees up a huge 3.
Saints have been scratching the iceberg all night, have yet to get over that hump and at least tie it. Can they come up with a stop here and set it up?
Wiggins a jab step on Reed. Now gives it to Shabazz. Now it's Thacker off the Jimmy Brown screen. Shabazz, a couple of lefty dribbles, drifting toward the paint, kicks it outside. Thacker for 3. That one too strong. Long rebound to Shabazz. Wiggins will settle it down for a moment. Reed comes out to get him. They look inside with a mismatch. Jimmy Brown teed up on Skitty. Now the long 3, no good. But a foul will.
Yeah, I think that was
going
on
the other way. Yeah.
Nielsen Skinner. Oh no, excuse me. Okay. For a second, I thought that was going to be on Nielsen Skinner, and I think that's even what Jimmy Brown thought as well. He thought that call was originally going his way, but instead called for, I guess, boxing out on Skinner. I mean, I'm not sure what the call would have been.
They got a little tangled up. I think Skinny just did a great job of selling his position on the floor, made it look as though he was being held in place by Brown. Just a really heads up, very smart, cerebral play from the Saints point guard. Now the Saints with a big opportunity. Skinny on the drive, gets under the basket, kicks outside for Hafner. Skips to his left, leaves it for Greeley. 6 on the shot clock. Skinny comes to get it. Moves to his left on the drive. Wild shot, no good. Reed there for the putback, but a shot clock violation as neither shot was able to draw iron. A stalwart defensive stand for Montana State Billings. Just when it looked like the Saints had a golden opportunity to tie or get within one.
Yeah, right there it shows you don't have to come up with blocks to make impacts on the defensive end. Just length down low can alter shots and force those kickouts, and the Saints just never could get a quality look at the basket.
Now Thacker gets down low, but Brett Reed able to take it out of the sky. Ahead to Hafner. Thinks about pulling up in transition. Instead hands it off for Adams. A very flat shot. Marky Adams, because some shot puts the ball into the hoop. We're back to a 1-point game. How about that funny-looking little runner from Marky Adams? Not quite a jump hook, just the flattest line drive of a thing. I didn't think they had a chance, but somehow Adams got it to go. But the three, the answer back. My goodness, Carrington Wiggins now with 19 on the night. And Montana State Billings extends the lead back to 4.
I said Jeff Wiggins, in my mind, had to have 25 points for the Yellow Jackets to have a win here tonight. He might need even a little bit more than that. This is, wow, what a game this has been tonight.
8 for 12 shooting from the floor for Carrington Wiggins. Now Reed on the drive. Back to Skinny. Now he races the baseline, cut off, tries to flick a pass over his shoulder back to Reed. It will stay with the Saints. We're going to keep it here once again during this media timeout because I want to make sure that all of our listeners, it's a very convoluted system, and it's, as Austin was explaining it earlier, I was having so much trouble tracking this. Granted, my little pea brain's going to explode when you tell me to add 3 plus 4, but maybe, so let's talk about sort of the implications of what it can mean for each of the teams, particularly as they are looking down at the last half of the season. We've hit February. This is it. These are the dog days of college basketball, the month that leads up to the postseason. This is just like the August dog days of the Major League Baseball season right here. How do you think the new playoff format, the new postseason format for the GNAC is going to affect teams as they approach the rest of their season?
I mean, every game matters. It's not just a win or a loss. You know, knocking off one team that night changes maybe the points for everybody else. One domino falls, 40 more go down. It's an ever-changing thing. You see the point totals, the unofficial point totals that we've calculated here at St. Martin's. I'll already tell you, these are outdated, Jeff, because we already have a game in the books. Central Washington knocking off Northwest Nazarene tonight. So these numbers are already outdated, and it changes the whole system. But, again, I think it's a great system to, you know, when you don't have teams playing equal number of games, it allows you to kind of determine, okay, who should get rewarded the most for a big-time win on the road. You know, this is going to change constantly every single day. So, you know, just because the Saints, you know, in that number 1 spot right now, that could change by the end of the night.
5 seconds on the shot clock for the Saints. Got to go quick. Hafner gets back off the inbounds. Fires from beyond the Twin Star logo and knocks it down. We're back to a 1-point game after Christian Hafner knocks down his 5th 3 of the ball game.
Hafner going, I don't need 5 seconds. Just give me 1. I mean, launching that one from deep. Woo! That was all the way out in Tumwater.
That's his 4th 3 of the game. Excuse me, folks. Again, math is not my strong suit. 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. Give him a team-high 12. None bigger than those 3 right there. Now Wiggins, can he answer? He can! Carrington Wiggins is playing out of his mind. To the surprise of no one, if you're a Montana State Billings fan, because you know how good this dude is. This is our first look at him, and man, this guy is legit. 22 on the night. Now Greeley with the 3-point answer at the other end. And things are really starting to ratchet up here inside Marcus Pavilion. 3 threes in a row.
Oh, my goodness, Jeff. This feels like a GNAC championship caliber game. These two teams giving it all here tonight in big-time plays.
Put it in my veins now. The turnover. Here's Schumacher racing out. Gets into the body of Sebastio. Wild sequence. How was there not a foul or a turnover called at this end? The officials say play on now. They leave it down low, but Greeley, free safety style, steps in and pokes it into the hands of Hafner. So back-to-back turnovers for the Yellow Jackets, and the Saints are kind of starting to smell some blood.
Yeah, but
Montana State Billings listing just a little.
Yellow Jackets have been bend but don't break all night. They have led from wire to wire. They need another stop, and there's the look. Schumacher versus Wiggins.
Now Hafner gives it back to Thompson. They kick to Schu. He'll phrase for three. Got it! Got it! Got it! St. Martin's with their first lead of the game. 54-52 as Schumacher finally connects from the field in this game. Oh, my goodness. But what's the call? We've got a dead ball here. Oh, we've got a technical whistled against. Well, Schumacher teed up. I wasn't following him. I was too busy jumping around up here, losing my mind. Schumacher called for the technical for taunting after connecting on the three, and that will send Carrington Wiggins to the line for a pair of technical foul shots.
Obviously, we don't know what was said. We don't want to speculate.
Yep.
But, Jeff, you got a tight game back and forth. Guys are hitting down clutch shots. This is college basketball.
Yeah,
This is great atmosphere.
Yep.
Let them go unless, something obviously there's magic words that if you say one, you've crossed the line. So we don't know what was said. But, you got to love the atmosphere between these two.
All of a sudden, this one's starting to play out like the game of the year in the league. Granted, there's been some good ones so far. Each of these teams have been locked into some pretty good duels already to this point. And there's still a ton of games yet to play. The Saints are only one of two teams coming into tonight that have played as many as 9 conference games. So they're one of only two teams that's actually hit the halfway point of the season as it's supposed to be structured. So there's a ton of basketball yet to play. But, boy, this one's really going to go down as one of the more memorable games if things continue to play out the way they are right now. We are deadlocked at 54, just under the 10-minute mark here in the second half. Wiggins made both foul shots. He's now got 24 on the night with about 9.5 minutes to play. He handles here. Gets it back from Thacker. 12 on the shot clock. They enter into the high post and now kick it back to Wiggins, and of course, Carrington Wiggins with another three in this game. My goodness, 27 points for Wiggins on the night. Just a spectacular effort, and he's already cleared that 25-point mark, Austin.
And you can't give him an inch. That is not great defense by the Saints, giving him any inch of life. I mean, the moment he catches that ball, he should have a defender right there in his grill. He's that locked in here tonight.
He's not a particularly fantastic outside shooter either. Coming into tonight's game, Wiggins averaging just 32% from three, but he's 5 for 9 and 10 for 14 total from the floor.
Obviously
just
not
unconscious effort so far.
Not same level as Green a few years ago, but I mean, it's that same.
Don't say that name to me.
We still have night terrors about watching him drill 3 after 3 in here. I mean, but, again, Wiggins, he's stepping up. And, this is a game right here that coaches remember. This is a first ballot first team all-conference kind of performance that Wiggins has put in together tonight.
Reed good on the first, a little bit too strong on the second. Splits the pair, 2-point game. Saints have only led once moments ago when Schumacher connected on that three, but he was whistled for the technical. Wiggins made both foul shots and hit a three on their next possession. 57-55, under 9 to play. Janaku having some trouble. Wiggins comes to help. Now Reed switches on to Wiggins. Teardrop shot, no good. A loose ball foul, and I believe we're going to keep it at the Yellow Jackets end. And we are. That foul whistled against Greeley beneath the basket. Remember, we only had 4 foul calls the entire first half. We've got 5 on each team so far. with 8:34 left to play. Not a team in the bonus yet still, but we've had a lot more stoppages than we did in that first half, which only took us half an hour to play.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets are going to have no problems just going isolation with Wiggins. Maybe set up bring one out to screen for him, but that's going to be the move as the shot clock goes down. Just give him the ball in the space.
Well, he handles up top here. Hafner slides across to try to bother him. Now Shabazz in the high post. Jab step. Now he'll just attempt a mid-range jumper over Marky Adams and knock it down. Man, Yellow Jackets playing just a flawless game. Right to the heart of their game plan. Beautiful pass inside from Skinny, sets up Adams. Maybe a little bit too patient that time, as a second hesitation move sort of allowed the defender to recover and strip the ball out of bounds. It will stay with the Saints with 21 seconds on the shot clock. Reed steps out to get the inbound. Has some trouble now, angles toward the basket. Shot bothered and no good. And back comes Sacker the other way. Kicks back outside, of course. It's Wiggins for three. But he's too strong. The dude is only human after all. Reed the rebound for the Saints. Skinny. Head always up, surveying, counting to four. Finds his dudes. Now rolls off the Reed screen. Tries to flip a pass back over to Reed, but turns it over instead. Wiggins on the leak out. Gets to the basket. Lays it in. 29 now for Carrington Wiggins. My goodness, what a find. What a find for McDurham. This dude is fast becoming one of my favorite players in this league. This is the first time I've seen him play, and I am absolutely mesmerized by how talented he is. Woo.
Yeah, GNAX just got a lot of great.
Oh, my gosh.
A lot of great players, but
so
Wiggins is going to have his name at the top.
Now a pass sets up Adams, but it's blocked. Ojanaku with another block. Adams with the putback, falling down, can't get it to go, and a loose ball foul. I believe we'll send it back the other way, and it will.
I think it's going to be a technical called on the Saints bench.
Uh-oh. What's all this?
I think someone said something.
Well, Aaron Landon wants an explanation. He is walking up. It is a technical foul whistled against the St. Martin's bench. Well, that will bring us to a very frustrating stoppage in play. Not quite sure what happened there. Don't want to speculate either. But you've got to give it to Montana State Billings. They are playing just an absolutely perfect textbook game plan basketball game here tonight. They lead it by 6. Well, it was a technical foul whistled against the St. Martin's bench. And while, Austin, we certainly don't want to legislate emotion completely out of the game, and these calls are certainly very unfortunate for St. Martin's, these guys do have to understand that this is an area of emphasis, and officials are going to be on the lookout for this kind of stuff. And whether we like it or not, they have to do the best job they can anyway of keeping their emotions in check.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a very tense game. It has been all from the opening tip. I mean, these two teams have been playing great here tonight. And so, if you're St. Martin's, just got to settle this game back down. Still 7 minutes left, long time to go, and we know the Saints can score in a hurry, but how do you shut down Wiggins? I mean, he is having the game of the year.
Saints with some pressure in backcourt. Montana State Billings a second to sort it out, but they're able to break pressure. And Thacker will go to work opposite Christian Hafner. Dumps it off for Shabazz. Cutter along the baseline is Wiggins. Double clutch midair. And Carrington Wiggins now with 31 points in this game. And now the lead back to 9 just like that. This is a 13-1 run for Montana State Billings. Making a 12-1 run for the Jackets. Nielsen Skinner with 5 on the shot clock. Switches left to right. Mid-range fall away won't go. And a Joniku there to button it up.
Obviously, Jeff, the storyline is going to be Carrington Wiggins, and as it should, but the defense of Montana State Billings, unbelievable job here tonight as a whole unit.
Packer gets it to Shabazz. Pass nearly picked by Greeley. Wiggins again. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for not going in. Thank you.
Yeah, Saints playing with fire right now.
Adams. That was a tough pass inside. Nielsen Skinner couldn't quite connect with Adams, and the turnover gives it right back to the Yellow Jackets. Time becoming a factor. 5.5 to play. A foul whistled beneath the basket. As someone was draped across the arm of Joniku beneath the basket. That pass sailed wildly out of bounds, but because there was a defender hanging on him. And it's a 3rd on Hafner, the 6th on the Saints, so Billings in the bonus the rest of the way. Oh, the oxygen in this room has just been sucked out of the place. Schumacher hit that 3 to give the Saints their first lead of the contest, but then was immediately whistled for the technical. And the Saints have been out of sorts since then. I don't want to talk ill of the referees, but they definitely did affect the outcome of the last few moments of this contest, which is unfortunate. They're doing their job the best they can down there. It's just tough when the emotion of the game, and it feels like as soon as Schumacher hit that 3, it was just going to be an electrifying rest of the way at that point. These two teams were just going to go at it, and now the Saints are kind of out of sorts, on their heels, just have not been able to compose themselves since that happened.
No, I mean, you could just feel the air suck out of this gym.
Yeah.
You know, and for the Saints here down the stretch, 5.5 minutes to go, you're going to have to start buttoning it up on the defensive end. Wiggins has had too many good looks tonight. I mean, he's shooting the ball really well, but the Saints have also really given him a lot of good looks here tonight. I mean, that cut recently to the basket, that's just not something that can happen. And so, you know, St. Martin's going to have to start coming up with some stomps. You know, get that tempo of the game flowing back again, because you know Montana State Billings, they're going to do what they do best. They are going to grind this one down, start taking away possessions from the Saints, and make this, you know, St. Martin's just going to have to start hitting their shots.
Well, the Saints have done a fantastic job of taking care of and sharing the basketball. Just 7 turnovers for St. Martin's. Austin, they have 20 assists on 22 made baskets tonight. That is insane. And a 20-7 assist-to-turnover ratio usually means you're going to be well in charge of the game. Instead, we've got a whistle before the ball is inbounded. That one whistled against Schumacher. That's his second. The technical was his first personal of the night. Obviously, frustrated Alex Schumacher. Wiggins steps to the line. His 3rd trip to the line tonight. Earns the bonus after he connects on the front end of the 1-1. 33 of the 65 points for Montana State Billings so far, courtesy of the man at the line right now, Carrington Wiggins. Second free throw on its way. It's good. Give him 34 on the night. So now he is definitely trending right up into Tyler Green territory. 12 threes. He had 38 points, 36 of them from behind the three-point line. And we get Marcus Linker on the floor for the first time tonight. Here's Greeley on the drive. Tough, angled, a little bit of contact, no call. And nothing going the Saints' way since that technical was called on Schumacher. And a frustration foul whistled on Tyke Thompson. He comes out, takes a swipe at Malik Brikat to send him to the line.
Yeah, Saints not even giving themselves a chance right now to defend and try and close down this gap. Just sending the Yellow Jackets right back to the line.
Can't earn the bonus as the front end falls off. Saints need a bucket, and they need it bad. They kick to the corner for Linker. Now Schumacher up top. On the drive, gets into the chest of Bricat. He's called for the foul. That's the 6th on Billings. So Schumacher stands at the free throw line, but it will be ball out of bounds, I believe.
I was going to say, I thought that was a good foul because you get Schumacher going downhill. Got to stop him, otherwise that's going to be 2 points. So good foul there from the Yellow Jackets. Had one to spend.
Hafner wanted to pop right off the inbound. Now on the drive, Christian Hafner rolls off the front of the iron. Things just continue to break the other way for St. Martin's.
Yeah, been one of those offensive kind of nights for the Saints. This is a team, remember, putting up over 80 points a game. Just a high-flying electric offense. They threw 94 up just 2 nights ago at Central Washington. Just not getting the rolls here on the rim.
Remember, this game was knotted at 54 at about the 9.5-minute mark, and the Saints have only scored 1 point since then. Inside, it's Ajanaku takes the pass from Wiggins. This time Wiggins setting up a teammate inside. Couldn't get it to go, but he's fouled. The 4th now on Hafner. And that'll send Ajanaku to the line. Ajanaku, not a good free throw shooter at all. Just 9 of 21 coming in tonight, 41% at the free throw line.
And I want to talk about Hafner with 4 fouls. If you're the Saints, you need to get back in this game with the 3 ball. He's your best 3-point shooter. I mean, they got a lot of great weapons like Tyke and Greeley and Spencer that can hit the threes as well, but Hafner's your best 3-point shooter. That's why you brought him in here, so he's got to be careful not to pick up that final foul.
Ajanaku splits the pair. And it's a 12-point lead, the largest of the game for the Yellow Jackets. Can they close things out here on the road against the top-ranked GNAC team, St. Martin's? Thompson down low. Back outside for Linker. He'll fire for 3. That one halfway down and pops out. Rebound covered up by Damon Thacker. And the Saints have just gone completely cold. They've gone close to a 6-minute stretch with just 1 free throw to show for it. Now Shabazz on the drive. Ajanaku fouled from behind by Linker. And that was by design. Linker with a fresh slate to play with out there. Fouls Ajanaku. They're just going to play sort of a hack-a-shack game at least every time Ajanaku touches the ball while he's out there for the moment anyway. It sends us to a stoppage in play. 3:39 left in this game, and Montana St. Billings with a 12-point lead. Montana State Billings well in control. They lead at 67-55, 3:39 to play. Let's talk for a moment, Austin, about the absolutely superlative, transcendent night we've seen from Carrington Wiggins. He has played an absolutely beautiful basketball game. He's got 34 points on 12 of 18 shooting.
Yeah, go ahead and give him the player of the night for the whole conference. I mean, I haven't seen what's been happening around the conference, but you know
Irrelevant.
What? You go on the road to the number 1 team and you throw up the game he's had. Wow. I mean, again, we talked about they needed to limit turnovers. They needed to stop the Saints from shooting 3, and they needed to have a huge night out of one of their 2 guards in Thatcher or Wiggins, and that's exactly what they did. They stuck to their game plan. Hat off to Montana State Billings. I mean, still obviously 3.5 minutes left to go. Don't want to cap this one off yet. But they've put together, I think if you ask head coach Mick Durham what would he like for his birthday, I think this is exactly it.
His squad now leads it by a baker's dozen with about 3.5 to play. Schumacher on the drive. Angles now steps back to the elbow. Feathers up the 16-foot mid-range shot and knocks it home. The Saints' first field goal in more than 6 minutes. It was 9:45. It's the 9:45 mark. A held ball. Schumacher and Wiggins tangle here in front of us on the near side. Schumacher earns the held ball. I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying jump ball because we don't have jump balls in the college game except, of course, to open things up or at the start of overtime. Trying to get myself out of that habit, into the habit of saying held ball. Now as Janaku handles, and he's fouled by Linker. Again, they go to that strategy. So far, it's largely worked. As Janaku, again, came in shooting just 9 of 21 from the line. He's 2 for 4. He's missed the first both times. He's rallied to connect on the second in each of his 2 trips here for the last few possessions for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if the Yellow Jackets, I mean, it would be tough to sub him out because he's such an impact on the defensive end and especially on the glass as he connects there. But do you at least try and keep that ball out of his hands on the offensive end? Or do you just keep rolling with it and go, if that's what the Saints want to do, we'll play it as well. We'll take on those numbers.
Well, the Saints, as you may have noticed, are also going with basically a 5-guard set on the floor. As again, Janaku splits the pair. So the 5, probably 3 best 3-point shooters on the floor for the Saints. Now Schumacher on the drive, goes glass, lays it in, so the Saints back within 10. There's still a ton of time. 3 minutes left in this game. And the Saints pick up pressure in backcourt, and stepping out of bounds is Thacker. Look at Christian Hafner avoid drawing his 5th foul and able to angle Thacker just close enough to the sideline that he forces him out of bounds. So a huge opportunity for the Saints as Brett Reed will come back onto the floor. Marcus Linker takes a seat after some well-earned time on the floor. So the 5 on the deck for the Saints. Let's set it. Brett Reed, Christian Hafner, Tyke Thompson, and Kyle Greeley, and Alex Schumacher. At least that's what it was anyway, before Mick Durham called a timeout. Probably a good timeout for his team as they were starting to lose just a little bit of focus. So he just wants to get his dudes together and say, okay, look, we're good, we're fine. Under 3, 10-point lead. Just got to hang on to things. It's a 30-second timeout. Austin, what do you want to see out of the Saints in this next possession that they have after they just forced a very critical turnover?
Yeah, I don't think you need to start heaving up the threes. Just keep looking down low, and that's why Brett Reed checked in. They're going to look to get him that ball off the inbounds, try and get something going towards the basket immediately. And again, just keep chipping away at this lead, putting the pressure on the Yellow Jackets. If I'm Montana State Billings, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. You put the ball in the hands of Wiggins, and you go with the hot hand, and you got 3 minutes left. He's carried you to this point.
Yep.
I don't know how anyone touches the ball other than Wiggins.
Every possession, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, it will be Hafner here to inbound on the near side directly in front of us down the way. Hafner looking for Schumacher. Instead it's Thompson. Hafner gets it back. Works his way to the top of the key. Now into the paint. Kicks along the baseline to Kyle Greeley. Gets it back on the drive. Tough angled shot blocked. Nicholas Sebastio takes it out of the air. Empty trip for the Saints. They really needed a bucket. And Billings likely to take some time here.
Yeah, the Saints trying to trap Wiggins the moment he touches that ball to force that ball out, but he breaks right through it.
Sebas thinks about a 3 now. Sebastio will do it. Offensive rebound for the Yellow Jackets. Thompson taps it out of bounds. So it'll stay with Montana State Billings, but now 2:20 showing on the clock.
Well, and that's what the Saints, they got Brett Reed on the floor, but he was pulled out. And when you play with a 4-guard set, you're giving up size to the Yellow Jackets, and that's giving them the edge on the glass.
Both teams in the bonus. Saints have now put Montana State Billings in the double bonus. 10 team fouls on St. Martin's. Hafner guards the inbounder Thacker. Flips it up over the top for Ajanaku. He's fouled by either Greeley or Schumacher. It's whistled against Kyle.
Well, the other thing about this strategy is there's just no time coming off the clock. That was 1 second. Saints are content with taking this opportunity. But I think you got about one more possession, depending on how these free throws go. You got about one more possession trying to get to 2, and then you're going to have to start working for some threes.
And Ajanaku, once again, the best he'll be able to do is split a pair. The strategy has largely worked. Ajanaku 3 for 7 at the line. Montana State Billings pulls everybody back, thrusts the entire rest of the team back into the backcourt. As again, Ajanaku splits the pair. So he's 50% of the night. Credit the big man. He's starting to find his form at the line. Schumacher guarded tightly. Will pull up for 3. That one just a little short. And Thacker covers up for Billings. Nearing the 2-minute mark, 11-point lead for Montana State Billings. Now Schumacher commits the foul on Shabazz.
At the line number 4, Bilal Shabazz,
70-59 the score. This game will do wonders for Montana State Billings in the new postseason ranking scoring system. This will be an absolutely enormous victory for Montana State Billings if they can hold on over the game's final 2 minutes. But right now they are well in command with a 13-point lead. Schumacher drifts around the Reed screen, reverses it back for Hafner. Now Thompson. No one is just getting a look on the perimeter. Behind the back pass for Reed, back out to Schumacher. Now he'll trigger for 3 from the top of the key and drain it. So a 10-point game. Nearly a turnover on the inbound. That ball almost fell out of the hands for Shabazz. They're able to break pressure. Here's Ajanaku all alone beneath the basket. He'll raise and pack it with 2 hands.
Yeah, great pressure from the Saints. They had a great look, just last second able to break through.
Desperation time for the Saints. Thompson's 3 well short. A foul in backcourt. And it's starting to look like Montana State Billings is going to get out of town tonight with an absolutely enormous victory. You know what's interesting? Schumacher hit that 3. It gave the Saints their first lead of the game, but he was immediately whistled for the technical. Montana State hit both foul shots. So really and truly, Austin, the Saints have led this game for like half a second in this contest when you consider that Schumacher, after he hit the 3, the clock was stopped like a second later because of the technical foul.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no denying, you're going to look at the numbers after that technical was whistled. Montana State Billings, they got what they needed. They got a break. They were able to, and there's a nice block. Brett Reed able to get the putback. But I was starting to say, Billings, they capitalized. They saw an opportunity. It slowed the game down for them, and they bunkered down here in the final 10 minutes. There's no doubt about it. The Saints were starting to roll. And Montana State Billings collected themselves, and that's a good team, really good team.
Savasio putting some icing on the cake. 14-point lead, 48 seconds to play. Absolutely spectacular performance for this Yellow Jackets team. You can't say otherwise. Schumacher does hit a 3. So 11-point game, 44.6 to play. Double foul called on the floor. Well, that's going to foul out Schumacher. That's a really, really, really tough foul if you're a St. Martin's fan. So Schumacher and Wiggins get tangled up. That's a really tough break for St. Martin's. As now Marcus Linker will replace Alex Schumacher on the floor. Schumacher, a frustrating night, hadn't scored until he hit that 3 at the 9:45 mark of the second half. Finishes the night with 13 points, and most of those coming here in the game's closing moments. Now Wiggins. 11-point game. Thacker with it. Saints largely just backing off, trying to force a turnover. 10 on the shot clock.
I think for me, looking at Thacker's line real quick, 7 boards as well, just doing a great job on the glass.
And some further icing courtesy of BJ Shabazz, 80-67. Thompson will fire up one final three. It bangs off. Hafner now will decide the outcome. 80-69 will be our final score. Huge, absolutely huge victory for Mick Durham on his birthday. Happy birthday, Coach. Your team just earned themselves an outstanding win, 80-69 here at home against the top team in the league, St. Martin's. It is the Saints on the business end of this one, folks. 80-69 our final score. We will hear from head coach Aaron Landon here in just a few moments. Stick around for a few extra moments, if you will. The St. Martin's men's basketball postgame show is coming up in just a few moments. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's men's basketball postgame show. And as always, win or lose, we are joined by Saints head coach Aaron Landon. Coach, on paper anyway, this one kind of set up as you were coming into the day anyway as one of those quintessential trap games. Not because that's the way you got you drilled into your guys, of course, that this was going to be a big game, but you're coming off the big win on the road with Central Washington. When you woke up this morning, you were expecting to play 2 games, one tonight against Montana State Billings. A second game, of course, was supposed to be played on Saturday right here against Seattle Pacific. That game gets canceled earlier today. All your focus, obviously, squarely on this game in the first place anyway. I know that you had your guys ready to play, but man, Mick Durham on his birthday comes out and gives you everything you can handle beginning from the very start of this game.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the first 5 minutes, so obviously I didn't have our guys ready to go. We were casually dribbling into shots, trying to use that first 5 minutes to warm up, and I'll take all the blame. If we're not coming out with energy, we got to talk about that. That's on me. But Mick Durham, ball coach.
Yeah.
That guy is
an
absolute stud.
Yep.
That's a ball coach, and you know, they don't have a ton of shooting on that team, but you look at how they're playing right now. So they got, 28 field goals, 20 assists. They had a specific game plan for us. They were, icing and downing a lot of ball screens, so basically not letting guards use it. And they came out here and they had a plan. They were going to make our guards shoot by going under on screens. Adjusted what they did. Takes us out of our game plan, and yeah, that's a veteran coach that knows exactly what he's doing in the middle of. I guess it's February now, and we got exposed. And you know, we've had 3 bad starts in a row, so that has to be the start of the conversation. Is why are we starting so slow? At least on the defensive end, the last 2 games, we just tough start at Western Oregon on the road, tough start at Central Washington. We pulled those out in the second half, but you know, these teams are too good. And they just did a great job preparing. Carrington Wiggins sort of called our bluff. He wasn't shooting a great percentage, but he hit shots, and we made those shots a little too clean. So credit them, and we got to do a better job getting ready for these GNAC games. There is no off night in the GNAC.
Well, this was my first time seeing Carrington Wiggins play basketball, whether on a screen or in person, and I am absolutely bamboozled at what a talented guy he is. You've already seen him in person 4 times this season because, of course, they were down in California early on for a tournament, so you got to scout Montana State Billings. You had the early advantage there. I guess Vic Durham did too because he got to watch your squad play a couple of times down there. Then, of course, you've already played them over at their place. So you've seen Carrington Wiggins in person and probably on the recruiting trail, I would imagine, as well at some point. But you're very familiar with the kind of player he is. But for those of us who were just now getting our first taste of him as a basketball player, talk about what a special guy he is, because he turned in one of the best performances that we'll see all season here at the GNAC.
Yeah, no doubt. 12 for 18, really efficient. You know, everybody looks at box scores and they look at how many points he scores. Incredible feel. Where is he from? He's from like Chicago, all right? Something like that. I don't have it in front of me. He's from Michigan. They play a lot of basketball just informally in the summer out there. That's a guy who, as much as he scored tonight, Carrington Wiggins just has great feel for the game, and he couldn't be sped up. He played with like really good pace and feel for, you know, when to speed up, when to slow down, and he was careful about finding his shots. He was patient on ball screens. When we ended up, you know, trailing him, he made the most of that and was able to gash up our defense. And again, they just had a great game plan coming into this. I also thought, even though their stats don't jump off the page, you know, not to make this all about Mick Durham, but you look at where his recruiting's at right now. He's got 2 freshmen on the floor, Sebastio and obviously 32. They're big. Those guys are really good, and it takes a lot of guts to play freshmen. And he had them prepared and gave them a simple role that they could excel in, and just sign of a great coach. Just knows how to prepare his guys, simplify things, and he messed us up tonight. So, all credit to them. We got to get a lot better. We've had, some good stretches, and we got a really good record. But, you know, complacency is the enemy of good teams. And just felt a little bit of that with our, opening minutes, our opening half. Just can't always recover in the second half. That's just how it goes.
Well, your team still did a lot of things right tonight. 21 assists to 7 turnovers, a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. You guys are well out in front in this league in that number. And a performance like that tonight, you guys took care of the ball. You shared it well as well. 21 assists on 28 makes of your own. And you got such great performances out of your bench tonight. 27 points off the bench. Christian Hafner back to full form. So good to have him and Marky Adams playing back at a high level for this team. Getting those kinds of contributions was obviously a very big part of this game tonight.
Yeah, those guys did a good job. It was good to see Marky come into the game, especially in the first half, and give us some good minutes. He picked it up. He didn't play much the other night, and same with Christian. And we talked to Christian, even coming off a win, just trying to do a better job getting him some looks. So we were running some action to try to open up some shots for him. And we did that, and when he hits shots, that's what he does. He's a hired gun for shooting. We just got to be sharper with our execution, and on the defensive end, we got to be better. No, the points don't look crazy, but just in terms of the coverages and things that we were doing, we made life a little bit too easy for them. But I thought both those guys did a good job. It's good to have them back in the fold. Honestly, the conversation that we'll have is just kind of managing emotions. It's unacceptable for us to get technical fouls in a game. I haven't gotten a tech since my second year, which was 2014-15. So, the one, we get one on the floor, but honestly, the one that, comes off the bench, we just got to be a little bit more mature with our success. And, we'll go have that conversation. And we don't play Saturday, and this isn't the worst thing in the world. We
Yep.
got a huge road trip next week,
Yep.
and we could use the time to prep. We got a couple guys banged up. It's really disappointing that we don't get to play on homecoming. But again, that's just the world that we live in right now, and we'll just sort of say, focused on our locker room and try to control what we can.
Well, before we let you go, let's talk just for a moment about the first of those games that will now be part of that road trip. You're at Northwest Nazarene on Tuesday. They're coming off a pretty tough loss tonight. Central Washington really got the best of them tonight by a tune of 93-70. So they're going to come in kind of listing and hurting a little bit themselves. They're going to be looking to bounce back. What do you expect to see now in your second go-round with the Nighthawks?
Well, no, I mean, we haven't played them.
Oh, you haven't played them
Yeah,
yet.
so this is.
Jesus.
Sorry, not to get. I don't know if you guys are tracking it, but like, did Gabe Murphy play in that game, or were you guys just following the score?
We're just following the score.
So yeah, I don't know. He's been out. He's obviously the best rebounder in the conference. NNU's just got great mojo. Don't know how else to say it.
Murphy did not play. By the way.
Yeah, so they've got James Nelson back, who's been really, really good for them. Not sure what's going on with Murphy. He's just a huge piece for them, and so curious to see if he plays. But yeah, NNU's just got the mojo because they've won. They've got returners from that winning team, and there's just not a whole lot that you can pick apart from a team that plays super, super hard. You can say, well, they don't shoot it great, but give me a break. They come out, they play in a 1-2-2, they extend their defense, they scramble and rotate, and they just make you play at their pace for 40 minutes. So got to get ready for that. And then this Canada deal, that's always an adventure. Just getting the passports and now passing the COVID tests and doing everything that comes with it. This is really going to be pivotal for us, and it's great that it happens on the road because that's where this thing started for us, was on the road. Our entire non-conference was on the road, and we just did that. So, this time of year, we know how to play some road games and travel on the road together and practice on the road in somebody else's gym. So, yeah, NNU is going to be tough. All three of those teams are tough, and hopefully we'll get SPU back on the schedule.
Yep.
Hopefully they'll come on down here and play. We've thrown out some dates, and the kids on both teams deserve that game. Those are two really good teams.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, tough one tonight, but still so much to be happy about with this team. A lot of encouraging things in this game as well. Northwest Nazarene will kick things off for that road trip for you next week. We'll be following along very closely, charting your progress, watching how things go. It's still the first place team in the league. Everybody's still looking up at St. Martin's even after tonight's action is all done. That's going to do it for us here tonight on the St. Martin's post-game show. So on behalf of Austin Burns, and who actually doubled tonight as our executive producer, Sydney Henderson getting the night off, and she's got some intense studying to do here tonight. So on behalf of everybody else here in the athletic department, this is Jeff Lucero signing off for now. We will be back on the air Saturday evening, 5:15 tip-off, despite the fact that Seattle Pacific will not be here for the men's game that evening. Women's basketball action is still happening here for homecoming action. Austin and I will be on the call. Pre-game show will start at about 5 p.m. Saturday evening. We will see you then for more Saints basketball. Until then, have a wonderful night, everybody. We'll see you Saturday. Good night.